Welcome back to my channel, Skincare with Deborah Diane. Today, we are going to be asking the question, can energy work heal the body and the skin? Energy work. What a cool subject to talk about, right? We are bringing in Dr. G. She is a naturopath doctor, an acupuncturist, and the creator of Ray of Light Meridian Therapy. And she is going to answer some questions. So whether you said yes right away or whether you're still a skeptic, you're going to love this video either way. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, hit the like, share on social media, and I just want to say a huge thank you to all the support that I've been getting so far, all your comments, all your contacts, all your requests. Super cool. I love it. I love doing this. I'm having so much fun. Okay, interview's coming up. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. G. So honored to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So the first question I want to ask is, what is energy? Energy work or meridian energy?
Yes. So energy is, the way I talk about it and really work with it is it's all around us. So it's in everything, right? And so that means it's flowing through our body all the time. And I'm an acupuncturist and a naturopath. So when I talk about energy meridians, that's really our acupuncture meridians. And there's 12 that flow through our body. And anytime we run into pain or stagnation, or even in this case, we're really focusing on skin, like a skin eruption on your arm, then there is a disruption in the energy. Like things aren't flowing as evenly. Same with pain. So when we say, let's say someone has knee pain, that typically, in my words, just means you have stagnation in your knee joint. So that stagnation of energy, it gets blocked up. Yes, out of Western medicine, we could say there's arthritis there. But in my opinion, if we can clear the energy and have it flow freely, that arthritis may still technically be there, but you could live pain-free. Same thing with your skin, with aging, with any type of reaction. As we treat the energy and how it's flowing through your system, then it's going to improve. And so energy is, I was looking up all these definitions. And so simply, in my opinion, it's in us already. It flows through us naturally, but our lifestyles get it stuck. And so that can be how we live our life. It can be what we're eating. It can be what we're thinking, because we're often our own worst critic. So I think of mindset as a really big tool to really shift our energy and how it flows in our body and around us, so there's so many things we can do to shift the energy so that we're in a more energetically comfortable environment.
So when you are so busy, like I know you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a career woman, and you have such a busy life, how do you keep your energy flowing so you're present in every single aspect of your life?
Yes. Well, I joke because like my husband may not say that I'm like, there are more. No. So I really find that it's important to stand up for the times for me so that I can be so present in the different areas of my life. So I've spoken about this in other places, but really my morning routine and my evening routine are the most important parts of my day, because it's like they're my bookends. So how I go to bed really matters, and how I wake up really matters. So for me, getting up, I just started exercising again. So I have an almost 2-year-old. I've gone in and out, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to exercise. But that means for me, I can't save it for the middle of the day. Like I like to get up early. I find that if I get up early and I get my exercise and I get my meditating in, and like I lay out my day, like I'll do a journal. There's somebody that I listen to that is more she's cosmology based, or like thinking about what's happening on our planet, but also the planets around us. So I like to kind of get a gauge on like what's happening, so I don't personalize stuff. Like if I'm feeling really stuck, I'm like, oh yeah, there are a couple planets in retrograde. I'm not going to take that personally. So I do like to tune into that. And so that, like, I give myself an hour in the morning to really hone in on me. Like that's like self-care. Like the way I used to be doing it was like catch up. I felt like I was always doing catch up self-care. Like, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I have to take a bath or I'm going to lose my bananas. But instead I realized that carving out that time and then telling my husband, like, this is really important. This is part of like me being the best version of me. And so I need this space. Like you can have the 2 kiddos in the morning and I get this time. And so I do get up early too, to make it easier, like before everyone is up. And then the other important part is how I'm going to bed. So I've just become a lot more discerning and like making, as naturopaths, we actually talk about electronic use right before bed. And ideally, like we're an hour off of it. That's hard, I know, with like how accessible it is. So I at least try to do like half an hour where like I put my phone down. I'm not doing Facebook right before bed. I like have a journal or I'm reading a book, and like to just kind of come out of this scroll world or the media world. And then I'm really deliberate about like energy wise, since we're talking about energy, we're just going all energy. So I will like unzip energetically from the day. So I know, I think you had seen, I did this whole launch and you had seen that. So I like talked about, I unzip the energy from the day. So like we take on stuff from kids and husbands and friends and clients and all that stuff. So I am very deliberate with that. And then I use some essential oils and flower essences to just kind of clear my space, so that when I sleep, I'm really deliberate that I'm sleeping in this kind of like energy bubble. Because why not? Like, yes, I think we need our imagination in order to heal. But if I'm going to go to bed, why not sleep in a place that's like really lovely to sleep in, right? Like I love my sheets and I love my bed, but I can also just have this sort of energy bubble that keeps me really nourished as I'm sleeping.
That's actually really beautiful. So you did mention about unzipping from energies that we take on. Could you elaborate on, because to me that's kind of scary, like especially with all the different energies out there.
Yeah.
Like we take on energy. So can you explain that and how we can avoid that?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, and it's funny because I don't typically think of it as scary, because I also think our intention is really important. So like when I'm doing this energy form of group healing or other stuff, I am always just aligning with the highest healing form. Some people are like, but aren't you inviting in all this other stuff? I'm like, no, because I'm very deliberate when I say we're doing this energy healing, only the highest healing energies, or I do talk about ancestors and spirit guides, but they're all only of the highest help and healing. And so that's one way. So like if you're calling in and you're like, oh, I just want to plug it, like some people will say God, some people will say source or universe, so whatever that is. So if you have that highest intention, that makes a big difference. But if you're like, oh no, if I'm going to do this energy healing and all these bad things are going to come, well, that's your mindset. So then probably you're inviting in a little bit more worry. And not saying you, but just in general, if you're.
Well, I was kind of thinking like going to the store.
Yes.
Like so things that are unconscious, like consciously protecting, but I was thinking of like unconsciously.
Exactly. So I do more often kind of go and pretend as if I'm in like a little energy bubble. Like most of the time, which sounds strange, but at the same time, like I'm okay with if it's speaking out loud, give someone permission to be like, oh, I like that idea. It's almost like you're inside a little, like when you see a bubble being blown and how it's this rainbow spiral. And it's like, when I'm out, I try to like hold that in the sense that then I'm not, there's things kind of, not things, but that way I'm not taking on to like unintentionally someone else's energy, and just with like going into the stores right now is kind of strange. And I notice myself being really drained. So if I can imagine just like a little bit of a bubble and just being like, I'm going to go into the store and I'm going to get my stuff and I'm going to leave, and I don't have to like, I'm not really worried about contracting someone else's either energy or other stuff. Yeah. So, and in the other sense of, sometimes you'll notice this with friends. You'll notice it more often with friends, or let's say at a store with a clerk. Like someone either just, you're around them and they kind of just drain your energy. And you're like, wow, that person was a drain.
Like I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I was feeling good, but now I'm exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would be a little bit of us not holding that bubble, or like just kind of boundary. And then the other person feeding, like probably noticing that you have really strong energy, or, you're really vibrant. And some people will kind of try to, they don't know how to plug into their own source. So they try to plug into other people, and it's like, if they really knew how to do it for themselves, they wouldn't, but that's just what they have probably done most of their life, is plug into other people.
So when we talk about healers, so we talk about healing modalities, right? But you've mentioned in your lectures that everyone's a healer. Mm-hmm. So could you elaborate on that? Because people are probably like, oh, that would never happen to me. That's not my modality. But we're all healers?
Yeah. I mean, we're all from the earth, right? We're all from, as humans, I really think that we are healers, and we have that. Well, so we can heal ourselves, right? So the story I tell a lot to help us make that connection again is that when you're 3, so I have an almost 4-year-old. So she gets a cut and she's like, she runs up and, at first obviously she's crying, but then the next day she's like, Mom, my cut, it's better. And we like celebrate it and we're like, yay, you're healing. You're such a good healer. And I always just say, you're such a good healer. Look at you healing. And then it eventually goes away and she goes, oh, I'm such a good healer. And people have that, like we have that innate knowing that we know how to heal. And then at some point in our lives, we lose it because some outside source says, oh, you have X and X and X, you need this that is outside of yourself in order to heal. Mm-hmm. So often we're receiving messages that our body doesn't know how to heal, and it only something outside of us can. So I think that first of all is a misconception. And so we are born healers. Like our body just in general knows how to rejuvenate and regenerate and all of that to really support it. And so when you first hear that, then some people might be like, oh, I'm not a healer. That's not what I do. But you actually, every single person does. And every one of us has energy flowing through our system. And it's just a matter of really connecting inwardly to realize how much of a healer we are.
That's actually a beautiful thought. I think it's very empowering to be like, yeah, I'm kind of in control of my body. I'm in control of my energy. I can do this. It's kind of empowering, especially having that mindset. Exactly. So let's take this a step further just because we can. So you mentioned about healing the meridians of the body. So we talked about that and like the flow. So you mentioned also in your lectures about getting to the root cause. Could you explain a little bit about a root cause of like something that you have on your skin, for example?
Yeah. So in naturopathic medicine, we're really looking in general for the root cause of disease. So someone could come in and say, oh, I have a skin rash. And my first thought is like, what is the root cause? And I'm thinking stress, anxiety, gut health. Those are the big things. Or inner reaction. I think of the skin as an outer reaction of what's happening inwardly, and so I know personally I've had skin rashes and they come up and I'm like, oh, it's my stress response. Like I'll be really stressed and I get a little rash on my hands, and it's a reminder. They're actually, I call from now on, I don't say disease, it's dis-ease, shows us that that the roots of us need more support. So it's really looking deep inside to find out why am I expressing this? What is at the root of all of this so that I can figure that out? So right now, a lot, how we compare different types of medicine, often an allopathic approach and naturopathic as well, you can say, oh, you have something on your skin, let's put a steroid cream on it, or let's put a cream on it. And yes, if it's super itchy and like irritating, that you want to put something on it to soothe it. But my deeper question is, okay, well, what's causing the imbalance inside?
Yeah.
So that's really the root causes. It makes you dig deeper and ask more questions so that you're really finding out, and that builds a connection between you and your clients, or you and, as a doctor, they're like, oh, they really care and they want to know what my stress is like, or they want to know how I'm eating. They're not just like, oh, I see you have dermatitis, let's put a cream on that and send you on your way.
And I think also that would make people more connected with themselves, and they're looking at themselves, because so many times we're looking outside for answers, like you mentioned, but looking at ourselves, again, that's so empowering to be that self-reflection.
Yeah.
So taking that a step further, so let's say somebody has a illness or a disease, and they're not too familiar about looking at themselves, so they're relying on Western medicine for a solution. How much more important is it to combine the energy work and Western medicine? Western medicine together.
Yeah, I think that it's really important. I think every single person, because we are so powerful and we are such amazing healers, and just as you said, for both of those, it's so empowering to feel like you have control and you have the ability to heal. So really that you can heal no matter what. And so they can go very hand in hand. And so I always don't say like, don't stop all your medications and just meditate and just do energy healing. Take your medications, but also do the inner work and start really looking inside and figuring out where are these imbalances that you can start to improve. And then naturally you won't need as much Western support, because ultimately as we go inward and we become much more inspired and re-enlivened, and we're like, oh yeah, I can't heal this, or and maybe if you can't, there's other healers that can support you, because sometimes we do, we're here to guide each other, like sometimes if you had something but you couldn't necessarily, sometimes we can't see inside of ourselves, we need a mirror, of someone else. And then once you get the hang of it, then you can do the work, on your own. But I mean, you see this, but part of my purpose and mission is to inspire other people that you can heal, and give along the way, give everybody tools so that you can leave and have a meditation or a mantra, or, an oil and an affirmation, or, anything, but that you begin to believe in yourself, because I think that belief has been taken away from us just unintentionally, just with the models. But that as that comes back, like we won't need as much of the Western medicine, because we're like, wait a second, I'm going to check in with myself and see where this imbalance is. And then I'm going to move forward, and maybe you need a Tylenol or some steroid cream here and there, but ultimately you have the ability to do that.
It's almost like getting back to our own roots years and years ago, thousands of years ago. So
yes.
You created Ray of Light Meridian Therapy. Could you explain what that is?
Yes. So I did create Ray of Light Meridian Therapy. So it is a form of meditation. It's a guided meditation, light therapy, and the ability to use energy needles to access your meridians. So in the form, I use several different points, but ultimately to get your energy flowing more better, have it flow easier throughout the system, removing the blockages, releasing the pain, releasing any stagnation. The different light therapies that are involved help bring in this feeling of expansion, and then also it ends with this ability to merge with our higher or healthiest self. So healing really does require us to use our imagination. And we sort of, same thing, as we were little, we were told like, oh, that's not real. Oh, don't use your imagination. That's not, like we watch it in our kids, and then at some point they lose it. But really the healing that gets exciting is like, we get to imagine, and as we imagine our healthiest self, like who is that person? So I involve that in the form, because it's so important. Then like as you do the form, then as you wake up every morning, you're like, I'm going to step into my higher self, or I'm going to step into my healthiest self today. It gives you that opportunity to remember who you ultimately are and who you are capable of being. And it's all kind of came through with COVID and us being home, I wanted to have a form of energy acupuncture that could help the acupuncturist treat their clients from anywhere. And then all of the thousands of people that weren't getting acupuncture, I wanted to help them have some type of way to ground and release pain. And then ultimately you're putting the power in their hands, because once they've done it, they can do it from anywhere.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that, how you mentioned about choosing to go into your higher self. Like, it's choosing it. So that would lead me into like one more question, maybe two. How can you create your own world? Like, everybody has their life and their family, and I know, especially in COVID, like, I've loved this time. Like, this time made me do like some major self-reflection, and I love spending time with my kids and everything. But now that we're kind of moving out, how can we create our world?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, just with that, like, so in the form, I also say we can do this for the planet. So we can start to imagine, what is the planet that we want to live on? How do we want to work? It's like this utopia. And yes, it still has to start. It can start from imagination. Like, I envision this utopia where we grow our food and we slow down and we're really more community based, and we go inward and we remember nature and we start like supporting her much more. And as I can hold that vision spreads to more and more people. So it does still require that inwardness, like remembering ourselves, and then remembering like, what is it for a community? And then as we branch out from it's like this ripple effect of, as we branch from our community, how do we want the entire globe to shift out of this time? It's ultimately already happening. It's already things, so many systems are shifting.
Yeah.
And so to continue to, what part of my purpose is to continue to shift, but hold that highest light.
Okay.
So that as we shift, we remember there is darkness, because the systems are going to change. So it's like remembering. So like during all of this, I like make sure I meditate, and I make sure I hold that vision for myself and the planet. And in that, I have more hope. When it feels dark, I have more hope, and I still just continue to use that vision, and not saying, well, it's not working. Oh, it's not, it just because it doesn't happen like that,
Right.
So
That's
it's like, we're in this, we're in this long game. We're in the long game right now of how do we create our own world? But it does come to, how do we create ourselves in our own inner world? And as we create that, then our outer world, will shift as well.
Yeah. I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to share about what you're working on, or your business, or anything that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'll share a couple of different things. So I do have a handout that does have the basics of this form. So we'll include that that will be down below, like a little link to the handout. Okay. And then anybody that is interested, I have a Facebook group called Ray of Light Meridian Therapy. So come on over. Actually, this is where we met each other. She was over there, and I talk all about energy, and I'll do different launches every couple, like 6 weeks. I do different launches, and the next one will still be energy medicine and healing, and how do we heal, and that's really important. And so Ray of Light Meridian Therapy group in Facebook is another great way. And I have created a transforming trauma toolkit, and that's every week. It's a video. And it will be on YouTube. I'm a little slow in uploading that, but we'll provide a link below to the very first one, and then they'll be on my YouTube channel as well. So just to give tools of how to really work through the big stuff that's happening on our planet, because it does start with us.
I love it. Yeah, all the links will be in the description. Thank you so much, Dr. G, for joining us, and we will see you on your Facebook page for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.